Hi viewers, yes, you're correct, the guy on the picture is me, and it was in 1992. So you get the picture of Cannondale from like more than 20 years ago. And today I have something really interesting for you guys, as I'm gonna show you three of my different bikes I was racing on over the period of 6 years. And I will just frankly tell you what did improving my bikes give me. And the difference between the first and the last one was huge. It was a whole different world of bicycles. And that's right, these are quite vintage now, because the first one, which would cost around $120, was from 1992. The second one, for around like $450, is from 1994 or 5. And then the last one, that's my first Cannondale, and that's when I really became Canon Denny. That's 1998. So these are kind of vintage bikes for you, but I must tell you that even today, jumping from $300 bike through $600 and $1,000 bike will give you will have same impact on the results you're getting on racing, like cross-country racing, road bike racing. So stay with me through this episode. That's the first bike, and that's actually the time after my first race ever, cross-country race, and it was super difficult track in real mountains. This bike, as I told you, was like $120, and what it had only the shifters and the front and the rear derailleur from Shimano, of course Shimano Tourney, and nothing more. Like, it had plastic brake levers, plastic brakes, cantilevers brakes, no name crankset, no name hubs, no name everything, and steel frame, of course no suspension in the front whatsoever, and wrong angled saddle. As you can see, that's me. How it was, I was really crushing the racing in my local races. It was like maybe 20-30 guys my age coming to those races, and I was crushing on this bike. I really got to cycling so quickly. I mean, to mountain biking, because I was cycling before, and I really loved it. I was always having some problems, and the main issue with the bike is that it was really dangerous. It shouldn't be used for cross-country racing. I mean, you can be riding bike for $120, that's okay, but not racing. I did break my fork, I did break my brakes, so it was really dangerous for me. And while racing, I was always dropping my chain, so I knew if there was some steep climb, I would rather run rather than really ride. It didn't have also good gearing ratio, but who cared at that time. I really loved the bike. I would make like around 1,000 kilometers a month on this bike, and it did give me this joy of mountain biking. That's the winner on this bike. As you can see, that's how I was being dressed. That's the winter once more, and that's I'm just coming home from that first race ever. So it was lovely, and as you can see on the pictures, I would really hit some steep climbs, steep mountains, and I really did learn technique on this bike. This smile is pressure, and this smile would cost $120. But as I'm telling you, you should not be racing on this kind of bike. Now, to be completely honest with you, between this one and this one, there was one bike more which would cost maybe $250. This brand, you don't know, it was called Vermont bike. The second one, you may know, it's Author, and it was super good bike. Between this one and this one was another bike, another Author Iowa on Shimano Altus. I loved it. It was the biggest improvement between any bike change for myself. Between this one, $120, and the second one, maybe $250. But this one, $450, was the first one with the suspension fork in the front, so big improvement. Now, between that $250 Author and this one, there was no difference in terms of the results during racing. If there was some 10 guys ahead of me on the one race, when I switched to another bike, to this one, I would still have 10 guys ahead of me. Comfort was way better, of course, with the suspension fork, but it does not change that much for you when you just switch to better bike. Though the difference between Author Iowa and this one was really huge. This one also had all the Shimano parts, like Shimano Alivio hubs, Shimano Alivio or Altus maybe crankset, and some Alivio derailleurs and some grip shift. Still cantilever, but not plastic. It was like aluminum, and it was just cool. It was nice. On this bike, I got to top 20, top 10 in Poland. So when I was going for some nationals championships, I was always at least top 20 and very often top 10 on this bike. So this was between 1995 and 1998 and 1998. It was actually 1997 when I got this bike. It was the year model 1998, and once more the difference was huge. This one was like 11.7 kilo versus maybe 13 point something kilo, so a huge difference. Head shock, I loved it. I had the lockout, the first lockout on my fork, and also super stiff and super smooth working on those needle bearings, so I loved it. Super stiff frame. I like feeling a stiff frame, and the bike was just cool. Now, what were the results between racing on this one and on this one? Well, no difference whatsoever. $450 and $1,000, which we paid. My parents paid for me. It was super expensive and super hard for them to afford this one. I'm really so grateful that they bought this bike to me. But no differences. I was now permanently top 10, but if there was usually some 6-7 guys ahead of me on this Author, 6-7 guys ahead of me on this bike. Now this was 1998. I was still racing and training a lot, and I had to send my head shock for some regular service maintenance stuff, and I switched to a bike that wasn't really good. That was Haro, but it was an old one from our club, from our team. It didn't work well. The suspension didn't really work at all. No V brakes here, not so good drivetrain, and when I went for like 2 or 3 races with this one, no difference in the results whatsoever. I mean, comfort and the way I felt on the bike is just, another topic. I just loved Cannondale. I loved my killer. I would like to have like Cannondale Scalpel or so, like the newest models. Why not? But we are just still reading too much papers with the ads and the catalogs that tell us you gain 30 seconds there and 20% of the stiffness there and 7% of the weight there. And I'm not an ignorant. If I was to go for championships in Ironman or especially time trial, I would really think about being aero, having light bike, having everything, really tuned up for the race. But on this level, like Poland national level, the difference between $1,000 bike and $450 bike wasn't really huge. Even though the weight difference is quite huge, so you would really expect to have something more than just nothing, no change in the results, but it just was like it is. So we should remember that it's not the bike that's winning the races, but it's the human being with our mentality, with the emotions, with our motivation and so on. So if you feel you are not stronger than the X guy or Y guy, you will not be stronger on any bike. You have to just put work into training and recovery, which we forget about very, very often. And then the bike will really work for you. So these were those 3 bikes: $120, $450, and $1,000 bike. This one is really my beloved one. Super stiff frame. I did really felt did really feel this one very good. But I must tell you, this $450 bike worked super well for me, and if you're gonna win some even important races, cross-country races, you're gonna do this on even like 2 kilo heavier bikes than other guys. I mean, 2 kilo, I know it is a lot, but it didn't change that much in the results. So that's it for this video. Let me know, what do you think, guys? You are improving your bikes. What kind of changes on your bikes really had any impact on what you saw on the list, on the results list? I'm really looking forward to read some comments from you. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your thumbs up and support. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.